I come from an era of women who weren't taught to speak up, basically. And also from a childhood where, my parents were children are to be seen, not heard kind of environment. So I never really felt the freedom to speak up. It's interesting. I'm writing my memoirs.
Yay.
Oh, awesome.
You think? I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and what I'm coming to realize is how I came a part of the women's movement without really being a feminist necessarily. But I also realized that I didn't want to be a secretary and I didn't want to be a nurse and I didn't have enough self-esteem to be a teacher. What was I going to do with my life? Well, there was a fierceness in me that, well, like, I'm going to do it my way. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not going to go to college because my mother said that's where you get a husband. I'm sorry. That's just not in my way of thinking. And luckily for me, modeling opened the door for me. And I didn't go to college. And I ended up flying around the world at the age of 17, 18. When I think back now, I was like, what was I doing? I wouldn't let my daughter out. Well, actually I did. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. My daughter is, I have to just briefly say and I'm so proud. She's a writer at Rolling Stone magazine. Okay, she's
Awesome.
LA music staff writer, and there was a period of time when she was 15 and 16 that I was letting her out at the Roxy and various clubs, and I'm going, should I? Oh my God, what am I doing? Allowing her to go to these clubs? Well, it paid off. She ended up, becoming quite the expert in rock and roll and the whole scene and whatever. But going back to finding my voice. I have a dear friend, Dottie Harris. Dear Dottie. Dottie was a model in New York for years. And she always said that her father said, one thing you've got to do is learn to speak up. And I went, ooh, I wish I had had a father that had said that. But anyway, going back to the movements of the 60s, the 70s and 80s, I never realized that women didn't have power. I just assumed it. I don't know how to describe it other than I remember being 19, sorry, and I was newly married and my husband was stationed at Fayetteville, North Carolina. And and I decided to go to Sears and Roebuck to get a credit card so I could buy myself a pots and pans and an ironing board and whatever I needed. And they told me I couldn't have an account. And I said, why? And they said, well, because your husband's not an officer. And I said, what's that got to do with anything? I said, I probably make more money than the CEO of this company. And you're telling me that I can't get a credit card because my husband's not an officer? He's not getting the credit card. I am. And it was interesting because I didn't realize women didn't have equal rights. Didn't dawn on me. Women are fierce, tough, powerful. And I just assumed everybody knew that. And why wouldn't I have these rights? I didn't understand. My husband was in the fishing area when he heard my voice over Sears and Roebuck. I came running up going, honey, I'm the one that's going to have to run 10 miles with 40 pounds on my back tomorrow. I don't really need problems with my boss, whatever, his sergeant or whatever. But it really appalled me. And I said, you have to realize I'm on the cover of Sears and Roebuck. And I'm helping to sell your products. And you're telling me that I can't have a credit card? I'm like, so I literally flew the next day to New York and opened an account at Tiffany's.
Nice.
And bought myself a diamond ring.